Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rams House Podcast. I'm your host, Ethan, joined by my co-host, Will and Joe. How are you guys doing today?
Doing
You
all
guys
right.
doing?
How you guys doing?
Honestly, doing
Good,
as
good.
good as you can do on the Tuesday after a loss. We'll get in.
Yep.
We'll get into that more for today's episode 3. We're going to be discussing the recap of the Lions game and the preview of the upcoming Cardinals game, or as we like to call them, Sean McVay's children. He owns those kids. There's no question about it. All right.
100%.
So we you know we should check the
You're not
record.
lying.
We should
You're
check
not
his
lying.
record against the Cardinals. I think he may have one loss at max. It's
Yep.
insane. I don't think any coach has
Yeah.
ever owned a team as badly as Sean owns the Cardinals.
Yep. The one loss he had, I think, was the Super Bowl year, to
It
be
was.
honest.
That's exactly
It
right.
was the
They
first
and they blew
game.
us out.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
we were starting slow. They started hot, and they fizzled. It was the whole thing. But
Mhm.
all right, so let's go ahead and get started with our first topic, which is the Rams versus Lions recap. So again, like we said, tough loss. We actually took them to overtime, which, considering all the injuries and everything that we dealt with, is pretty amazing. So what are your guys' primary first takeaways after the game?
Yeah, I mean, Ethan, I think you said it at the beginning when you said you're doing as well as you could be after a loss. That's pretty much exactly how I feel. I actually can't remember ever losing a big game like this and not feeling super disappointed. It kind of reminds me of last year when we actually lost to the Ravens in overtime. But I think the takeaway from that game was most of the Rams fan base was that was kind of the moment where we realized like, okay, this is actually a really good team, and I think we had that right away in week 1. Obviously, we're going to get into it more, but dealing with that type of patchwork offensive line, all the injuries we had, and it's one thing when you go into a game missing a lot of players, but it's a different thing when it happens mid game and you have to
Sure.
adjust live in real time and you're making adjustments, you're changing the game plan, and you're doing all of that and you're taking the Lions to overtime. I mean, I think I feel surprisingly, I feel I'm upset we lost. I'm concerned about the injuries going forward, but strictly about that game, I'm really encouraged by what we saw on the field.
Yeah, man. I'm the same way, dude. I'm super encouraged. I was super proud of the team. Of course, it's an L, so it's still a bad thing per se. But I was super encouraged. I was encouraged how Stafford played. He fought
Yep.
through a couple injuries he had. I was encouraged by Cooper. I was encouraged by everything. McVay had one of his best game plans he's had in a minute, man. Once Hutch start getting to the staff, and once the offensive line start breaking down a little bit, he changed to like this crazy play action thing where it was like a misdirection a little bit, and that was super unique. I was happy for McVay. Red zone, we struggled a little bit and then scored some. We could do better next week, but I was just super proud
Uh,
and I'm happy with what we came up with.
this may be a
Yeah.
hot take, but I think it was a top 3 McVay performance ever.
I think that's fair.
And
That was a
I
great
mean,
game.
we can go into
It was
more
great.
detail about that. I know we disagree about some of the details of it, but Sean Sean did heavy lifting in this game. When we
yeah.
talk about a coach, we talk about what they're doing to overcome talent deficiencies and all that kind of stuff. I think Sean did some
Mhm.
heavy lifting in this game, and we'll kind of get into that some more. But
Yeah.
so we all kind of feel the same way. It's very encouraging. We went through a lot,
Yep.
but losing in overtime. I mean, and to be fair, the Lions seemed super rusty, and none of them seemed like they were performing to their best either. But it's week 1, so no one really is.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but honestly, the NFC Championship matchup against them is gonna be a much better game, much more competitive from both sides.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
Right about that.
I'm looking forward to that. So our first topic today, discussing the Rams and Lions recap, is going to be the offensive takeaways. Let's discuss the offense in particular, and I'm going to start us off by discussing why I think this is one of the best games that McVay's coached. Missing, we started off missing both tackles, right? Which is
Right.
going
Yeah.
against arguably a top 5, top 7 edge rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. We talked about that last week, about what a threat he is and how that could be a problematic thing. And it was, to be honest. Aiden Hutchinson got the most pressures, or the highest pass rushing win rate of any edge rusher since 2021. So 3 years. And that's due to his talent as well as the deficiencies we had at tackle.
Yeah, man, he's a beast.
But the whole game plan was prepared, and we've talked in the past, on Discord together about how sometimes McVay takes a while to make adjustments, to adjust to a personnel problem, right? Like 2019 when the O line was all banged up, we didn't really adjust to a quick passing game until late in the season, and it really hurt our offense. And we discussed that in 2020 and sometimes in 2021 too. You guys remember that series we had in the middle of the season against the Titans where we got obliterated by the Titans D line, and then we got knocked around by the 49ers the next week. We were all like wondering, well, we thought we were a Super Bowl team. Now we don't know because we had like 8 turnovers in 2 games. It was crazy. So sometimes in the past,
every game.
yeah, sometimes McVay can be a little slow to the adjustment, but dude came in prepared this season. The fast passing game was basically unstoppable. I know they stopped us, but it was on. I mean, it was really good, and it's not the kind of offense that McVay wants to run, but he was on it from the first play through the whole game. Stafford was doing a great job getting the ball out of his hands, despite like an insane amount of pressure in his face. But the game plan was great. The play calling, for the most part, was unbelievable. One of the best called games that we've seen, even though there was injuries that caused us to never have enough time, or Arcuri, holding Hutchinson like 30 times, and all the other the Jordan Whittington end around that went for the touchdown that got called back. That was such a brilliant play call. We talked about it. That was a wonderful play call. There's just a lot of that stuff going on. I thought that's my most encouraging thing right now is the coaching, starting with the offensive coaching. I thought, considering the circumstances, it was as good as it gets.
Yeah, I thought it was great. And before I go into my takeaway, offensive takeaway, just to piggyback off what you said, I think the Sean McVay of him adapting, I think they actually started last year. To be honest, last year he did a great job of adapting to what he had, adapting to the pieces he had. We were talented on offense, but I feel like we're just a little bit better just because time and experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably where it started. But just to get to my point of the offensive takeaways, what I loved the most was how involved everybody was in the offense.
Yeah.
How involved Cody Parkinson was. How involved Tyler Johnson was. He had that big I think it was like a 40-yard run, something like that. He had. I was super
Yeah.
impressed by that. I like how involved DeMarcus was. He tried to involve Jordan Whittington, but it got called back. I just loved how involved everything was. I think when we spread our offense out like that, I think we're gonna just be hard to beat, especially if we can get the quick game going. And eventually one of these games we gotta get the running game going. I know we're gonna talk about that a little bit as the episode goes by. But I just love spreading the offense out. I think that's just so unique and so great and so great, that our offense does. And I think we can win a lot of games like that.
So I pulled up the stats for us to take a look at here. Tyler Johnson
Yeah.
catch and run was 63 yards. I think the pass was about 13. It was just beyond the first down marker, I think. So it had to have been at least a 45 to 50 yard run after catch.
Yeah.
Impressive. Honestly, I've not been too high on Tyler Johnson. That was a nice play. I still prefer Jordan Whittington, but to know that we have a guy of that talent, even in the rotation of receivers at all, is amazing. And yeah, I mean, look at the spreading around. In fact, the only guy who didn't get any time seems like it was Blake Corum for some reason. We can discuss that later. But you have Cooper, Tyler, Colby, DeMarcus. I mean, the ball went around. It went around, and this might sound a little superficial, but I remember when Will's been pretty high on Colby Parkinson from the beginning, and I've been kind of like, eh. I think he was underused by Seattle, but I haven't seen anything to like really blow me away. And I don't want to be the guy who's like, oh, I love the combine and measurables, but I didn't realize he was 6'7". He was so much taller out there than I thought he was.
He's huge.
Yeah, man, he's a big guy.
And honestly, that makes a difference to me because it gives him a larger catch radius. It gives him more, and if he can use his size to his advantage, that could actually be a really good tool. I'm definitely liking Colby Parkinson a lot more than I was.
Yeah, no, we haven't had that in the offense too. That type of really big target with a big catch radius, like you said, in a while. And man, Parkinson looked good, and man, Tyler Johnson, I didn't even know he had that second gear in him. And he actually made 2 moves. Like right when he caught the ball, he kind of put his foot in the ground and made a cut and cut back inside. But then there was a second move he made later on in that run. Like I didn't know he had that in him. And I'm gonna say this, maybe you guys can think I'm overreacting to just one good game for him, but I think, with Puka going down, a lot of Rams fans would have thought, here comes Jordan Whittington, like perfect, right on cue. It's his time to
Yeah.
step up. And I think Tyler Johnson's going to hold on to that, to that spot and keep contributing in this offense. I believe in him, and I know Whittington will come and contribute eventually, but I think what you're going to see from Whittington is almost similar to like Josh Reynolds in 2018 for us, where he'll come in and he'll make plays, but he's not going to be the go-to guy yet. I think it's going to be a lot of D-Rob and Tyler Johnson. I think he's going to keep making plays for us until Puka comes back. But guys, sorry, did you want to chime in on that?
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm conducting the the Jordan Whittington hype train.
As
Man,
most
I'm
Rams fans are,
I'm
totally
at the
understand.
front, so
Yeah.
I don't want to be dismissive of Tyler Johnson. I'm glad to have
That's
someone
okay.
but I think personally, I would love to see Whittington get a lot more snaps because not only do I think he's very talented and ready to play now, I think he is going to be one of our main receivers for the future. And
Yeah,
I know it's
Yeah, I
not
agree.
I know it's not a future looking season, but you still kind of I don't know, give him some playing time.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that'll be fun to track. We'll see as it goes, progresses the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be more of Tyler Johnson or whether they just insert Whittington in there. I think if Tyler Johnson's playing like that, I just don't think McVay's going to pull him out. But
I would
we'll
even
see. I
love a
mean, it's
rotation,
really
to be
early.
honest. Rotate them a
Yeah,
bit. I mean,
yeah,
Demarcus Robinson, to be honest, none of the three guys behind Cooper Cup deserve full time snaps. Not to say that they're not good, but they're not full time snaps. You can't take them off the field kind of guys. That's just Cooper and Puka.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
I would love to see all three of them get. They could easily get 60 to 70% of the snaps on offense. Um,
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And then Whittington could be like, now I don't want to mention a 49. I know it's taboo, but like a Jawan Jennings, like on third down and long, he's always that guy that comes in and out of nowhere he catches the ball. He did a lot on us in NFC Championship. So I think if Jordan comes in, he could be like that third down guy, third down and long, who we can get it to in a clutch moment.
yeah, and
Yeah,
he looked
yeah.
pretty good in the end around too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so I mean, I was gonna say though, as far as my main takeaway, it's actually kind of a, a negative is, I'm disappointed in how we ran the ball. I know that obviously two of our tackles were out, but even in the interior O line, I just feel like the push wasn't there for most of the night. I think Kyron averaged like 2.8 yards per carry, and look, I get it. The offensive line is injured, but I mean, is that somewhat of an excuse? Yeah, but it's not a complete excuse for me. And also on the flip side, I guess to be more positive is, man, Matthew Stafford deserves so much credit, guys, because this is now two games in a row against the Lions where he has had no help from the running game. If y'all remember the wild card game last year, we were not running the ball well at all,
Yeah.
and
at all.
Stafford throws for 377 and almost gets us that win, and basically did the exact same thing again. I mean, look, he's pretty much proven that he can win the game without a running game. But if you give him a
Sure.
running game, and Joe, I think this was your key last episode. If we can give him that running game, man, obviously, then it's a whole different story, and I think we win that game, of course. But yeah, I was disappointed in the running game, and then the other takeaway is Cooper Cup looks like Cooper Cup, so that was obviously amazing to see.
Sure. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'll give you some pushback on a couple of those points. I actually thought the interior O line did a good job in the run blocking game.
Okay.
I think upon watching the game the first time around and watching it again, that Kyron left a lot of yards on the field.
Mm,
In the run blocking game specifically, because we ran a lot in the middle. I think there was just a lot of yards left on the field. I think that was, and this was one of the points, and perhaps I'm the local Kyron hater, and that's fine. But last year, in the first 4 or 5 games, Kyron was pretty bad as well. When the run blocking
yeah.
wasn't stupendous. Before Kevin Dotson starting, and the run blocking wasn't top 3 in the NFL, Kyron struggled mightily, and it wasn't until it got going in all cylinders. And to be honest, historically, that was also the case in Notre Dame. Notre Dame had an incredible O line when Kyron was there. So we have yet to see if Kyron can be the guy to deliver great performances when the run blocking is not really good. And
Yeah.
the run blocking wasn't really good, but it was good enough for him to have an okay day. And I think
No,
he,
I could.
I think he left a lot of yards on the field.
No, I
He did.
actually
He
agree
did.
with you, which is why I'm saying, like, yeah, the O line was injured, but it's not a complete excuse for me. And again, the 2.8 yards per carry, I think, I mean, when you look at the way the Lions ran the ball with Montgomery,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's what we were supposed to be, right?
Yeah, and
This season.
he also had added 3 catches for 4 yards. So his actual yards per touch, and so when you're talking about the responsibility, I mean, you're catching the ball, and generally you have enough space to make a guy miss and go. And so he didn't get yards on the catches either. He averaged 2.5 yards per touch overall, which is just unacceptable. That would be a horrific number for the course of a season. Obviously, it was a bad game. And then you guys are a lot higher on Matthew Stafford's performance than I am. I think that he played okay. I really just, to me, the decisive factor in the offense was McVay's game plan and play calling. Like the game plan that we went in with set Matthew up for success, considering the circumstances that were happening. Bad run game, no pass blocking. It was very fast. People were getting open fast. Stafford did a lot of things good, but he also threw the interception in the red zone.
Yeah, the turnover was backbreaker.
I don't know if you guys remember, but the last play of regulation that Stafford had was throwing the ball directly to Carlton Davis, who dropped the easiest interception ever. And if if Carlton Davis catches that interception, it's a field goal and they win the game, and we never go to overtime. And there was a couple other balls that he threw that were pretty close to being picked off. At least 3 or 4. A couple of them, Joe and I were talking about that were, Brian Branch diving attempts, but Brian Branch can make those catches in reality. He can make a diving interception. He's a playmaker. And I'm not hammering on him because he was facing every adversity that a quarterback faces. Wide receiver 2 goes down, both tackles are out, then you get to your third stringer, your center. I mean, it was just a lot of bad stuff, right? But I thought he was fairly sloppy with the ball. We lucked out that a lot of interceptions were dropped. And if I'm divvying up the credit for the success we had on offense, I'm giving a lot more to Sean McVay. I thought it was just a perfect game plan for the situation. And I don't think Stafford was fighting nearly the uphill battle that he could have been in this situation because of the game plan. I know that's going to be an unpopular opinion. And I love Stafford, and I'm super glad he was traded to the Rams and all that stuff. But there was an opportunity to be a 4 or 5 turnover game, and so that was concerning. But that's not going to be he was pressured like on half of his dropbacks or something. It was insane.
Yeah. With Stafford, man. Ethan, your take's not too controversial. I disagree with it just because I think that just him playing the way he did with all the adversity he had against him, I think that was it was like heroic, to be honest, man.
No,
Especially
you know
in the
what?
wild card game, he did the same
And
thing.
I will agree with you there. His fourth quarter play was heroic.
He was great.
Yeah,
In the fourth quarter.
he had like two scoring drives
Yeah.
where I think it was 2 drives he scored 2 touchdowns on.
I
And
will
then they
say
like a little
though,
comeback.
if Jared Goff was our quarterback and he threw the ball directly to a DB with the game on the line, that you guys would be hating on him a lot more than you are on Stafford. There's a little bias there, but
Absolutely.
Nah, I wouldn't be hating on Jared Goff. I like Jared.
I would.
that
Sorry,
Yeah,
Jared.
Joe would.
that pass to Carlton
would.
Davis was horrific. I mean, that literally bounced off his chest. That was a gimme interception. And remember the guy they picked up a kicker, Bates. I think it's Bates, right? Maybe look here. Yeah, Jake Bates. He's the guy that was consistently drilling 60 plus 65 yard kicks in the XFL or the UFL or whatever. So he's got a leg on him. And I think Carlton Davis dropped that at the 40. So even if they just did no plays and then kicked it from there, it's only a 55 yarder.
Speaking of drops, man, Kobe Durant. I know we're gonna talk about it later. I think he had a good game, but that drop.
It was a killer. Obviously, it was a killer. But man, that was a hell of a play, man. That was, and you know what? Well, I'll say, you know what? Let's just switch. You guys ready to talk about the defense? Let's talk about.
Let's talk about the defense.
Because I actually really want to talk about Kobe because I will stand at the front of the line. So let's do the defensive takeaways. I'd stand at the front of the line and say I've never liked Kobe. I've never believed in Kobe, but I learned something about Kobe last night that made me realize that my dislike for Kobe and my lack of belief for Kobe was centered heavily around what I consider to be ultimately a completely inept defensive scheme and play calling by Raheem Morris. He did so much better in press man situations and in tight man situations. Bro, he's a man cover corner, and he flourished.
That's what he is. He's good at that.
That dropped interception. I mean, let's be real. That would have been one of the best interceptions of the season. Dude, he had to have had a 42, 45-inch vertical. Dude,
yeah, man.
I mean, you heard Collinsworth be like, I didn't think it. He goes, I thought Goff had an incredible pass. When he released that, he's like, I thought Goff was because there was a safety coming over the top. Then Kobe was there, and it looked like Goff had fit it right between the two of them to J-Mo. And Kobe just suddenly skied, dude. I've never seen him jump that high. That was a heck of a play, and he legit dropped that. He had it in both of his hands. He had that thing done, and he dropped it, and that was disappointing. But the fact that he can do that is pretty sick, man.
It is, dude. If he can do that more and more and more, bro, man, this defense could be something else, man, especially the secondary.
But here's my central point about my central defensive takeaway is this. A lot of players looked a lot better under Chris Shula. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to start it with this, okay? Because this guy had a mediocre year last year, but I've always loved him. He's always been one of my favorite players. And I thought he was phenomenal, and that was John Johnson III.
Dude,
he was in the run game. I remember because we were in voice, remember? And we were watching the game together in Discord, and someone said, "Oh, dang, did you guys see that tackle on Montgomery? I didn't know Omar Spates was in the game." And we said, "No, that's John Johnson III, bro." Because it was like a sick.
43, not
so
48.
he was
53.
Well, he's 48 for Spates.
Oh, okay.
Because you saw the 4 and you saw the curved letter, the numbers, and so we were like,
that's 43, not 48.
At first, we were like, "Oh, dang, Spates is in and he's tackling guys like legit," because it was a good hit. And it's like, "Oh, that's John Johnson." I said, he did good in the run game. That interception was phenomenal, by the way, because you know what, Amon-Ra's an aggressive attacker of the football. And he out-attacked Amon-Ra for that ball. That ball was it wasn't that bad of a throw. That was a great play.
No, it wasn't.
That was a great play. And let's be real, purely lucky that he held onto that ball. That was unbelievable. Yeah. It just sat on his hand. Mm-hmm. But John Johnson was amazing. And I'm a huge JJ3 fan, so to see that gets me jacked up. Dude, I was like getting ready to do motorcycles in the house, you know what I'm saying? Throwback to the Saints NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
But yeah, the defense, third and shorts, third and mediums. What did we see? We didn't see people 35 yards off the line of scrimmage. We saw people playing press. Dude, how many third fours, third and 5, third and 6s, third and mediums, third and longs did we see guys playing press man?
Yeah, I was so happy to see us actually challenging receivers on the outside finally, instead of, like you said, what we saw with Raheem Morris, like the 10-yard, 15-yard cushions. I loved how it seemed like even if the balls were completed, right, whether they were completed or incomplete, at least we were challenging the receivers and making it hard for them. And the other thing too is, I guess I would, you heard John Johnson talk about it at the press conference. He said that Chris Shula made it simple for them. And I feel like the thing with Raheem Morris is I feel like he was always trying to do too much or get too cute. Whether it was like a defensive end covering a tight end downfield, or it's like, why are you, it's just like exactly like John Johnson said, make it simple, put players in spots where they're comfortable, you know what you're going to get from them. And the other thing, if I were to summarize like how I felt about this defensive effort in one sentence though, I would say the secondary played amazing. The run defense was a little bit suspect. But overall, I thought it was great. I'm really happy with what we saw from Chris Shula. I feel like there was never a point in the game where I was like, why is this guy in this position? Why is Troy Reader out in the flat? Why is Michael Hoyt out covering, Sam Laporta? There was not a single moment where I was like scratching my head, like, what are we doing on defense?
100%.
You saw like a nice twist between Byron Young and Kobe Turner. Like there was a lot of things I really liked, guys. And
that was great, by the way. And we actually saw a lot of those kinds of stunts and twists and stuff that were really, really good. But I couldn't, dude, we all came in Chris Shula doubters. I think we're all leaving game one Chris Shula believers.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. You're right. I
Yeah,
have to actually own that. I was skeptical. I was doubtful. I didn't like the hire. And Chris Shula, so far, you're making me look dumb, and I love it. Keep making me look dumb. Keep making me look wrong. I love it, man. Great,
yeah,
great game.
yeah. Just for me, 'cause I know Ethan hit on it about the safeties, but one of the biggest things that I liked is the difference of how we played. I mean, Ross St. Brown from the wild card games to this game. Like, I don't know if you can see his stats, but I don't think he had over 30 yards. I don't think.
He had like 13 yards.
3 catches,
Amon Ross.
Yeah,
13
man.
yards.
Yeah,
And
that's
and to me,
unbelievable, guys. That's
dude,
unbelievable.
and that's
Yeah.
just a testament of how better the secondary is and
Yeah,
how better this team is. Just because you got Kobe, he was playing his butt off. You had Trey White. He made a mistake on Jammo. We can speak about that later. But
yeah,
you had Quentin Lake and the star doing this thing. The safeties was making sure that Amon can sneak through the back, sneak over the top.
yeah,
And I'm just gonna do it again. Chris Shula, a hell of a job, man.
Hey,
Even though we
yeah.
lost,
I want to
or
extend your.
it
I
feel
want,
like we're talking after a win.
it's kind of hard to see, but I wanted to pull this up
Yeah.
because I had a feeling this would be accurate. This is Amon Ra's entire game log, all the games of his career. Okay, Amon Ra,
Mm-hmm.
top 5 receiver. He's a stud, all pro, right?
Yeah.
The Baltimore game and Dallas game, he got hurt in both those games and left halfway through their game or early in the first quarter.
Yeah.
This was the worst performance of his entire career.
Wow, wow,
Hell of a
man.
job, dude. That
That's
was a hell of a
crazy.
job.
Literally the
Yeah,
worst. He had a. I mean, so like he left real early in both these games. He had a 100%
Yeah.
catch rate, but look at this. He had a 50% catch rate for 4.3 yards a catch and three catches, 13 yards. I mean, literally one of the worst games of his entire career. Um,
Yeah, man.
and a lot of it was schematic. A lot of it was that guys who were guarding him were doing a great job. And man, I have a hot take, okay? And I think this really shows us the importance of not only scheme but making some key free agent additions. I think last night we displayed what is probably one of the best safety duos in the NFL. Week 1,
it can be. Yeah,
Cam Curl
Yeah.
and John Johnson. I'm talking about week 1. I think they were a top 3 safety duo. Whether they're going to do that for the rest of the season or not, we could discuss that later. But week 1, they were just the combo of them two were just great. They were really good. Do you know who was guarding Sam Laporta a lot and held Sam Laporta to a pretty poor game? A lot of Cam
I
Curl.
forgot about something. Yeah, you didn't do a good job either.
Sam Laporta only had 4 catches, 45 yards. He was
Yeah.
he's probably on his way to an All Pro season. He's a stud. So we held one of the we held a top 5 tight end and a top 5 receiver to basically nothing. A combined 58 yards on 7 catches. That's garbage. These guys are combining for 150, 200 yards most games. So just a stupendous job. The defense, yeah. And so let's go back. Secondary. We talked about that being a key. Secondary looked great. Trey White, look. The reason we only saw Trey White once all game long when he got beat by J-Mo. And by the way, J-Mo's looking like he's about to put up a superstar season. I mean, he looks totally different from the last 2 seasons. He looks like a dude on a mission. And he's got, you mentioned it, Joe, his confidence seems off the charts. Like this guy just, he killed, Tre'Davious White got killed on a double move by probably a top 3 fastest receiver in the NFL. Top 3 fastest player in the NFL. So that's going to happen. Yeah. People are going to get beat by a double move from J-Mo because he's really fast and you're worried about what's going to happen. It was a bad play. We didn't see Trey White the rest of the game because he was doing great. We saw almost like they were never throwing to him. So secondary, just Trey White great, Kobe Durant great. Now he's hurt and we're gonna have to talk about that. But safety's great. I really thought that the secondary performed really well. Now let's talk about the run defense.
Yeah, that was an issue.
I'm gonna tell you two guys I want to have replaced as soon as possible. And I'm not trying to be.
Can I guess one of them?
Sure.
Is Troy Reader one of them?
Of course, Troy Reader.
Wow.
Absolutely.
I've been driving the Troy Reader hate train for the moment he got on this team. I've literally never liked Troy Reader.
He's awful.
Who's the other one?
I'm gonna tell you, and if you rewatch the game, you're gonna notice something about this guy, and it was he rarely to never got any good push. he got pushed back a lot, and he got actually bowled over several times this game, which is, for me, for my money, in a nose tackle, is utterly unacceptable. And that's Bobby Brown.
Mr. Bobby Brown.
Okay.
Bobby Brown
Okay.
was getting bullied. I look, I'm not trying to be a jerk. He was facing off against Frank Ragnow, who's a top 3 center. But bro was getting bullied, and then I want to say Gibbs one time just trucked him for a first down. Montgomery trucked him a couple times, but Jamar Gibbs is tiny.
He did.
And Gibbs trucked him, not only trucked him, but I think it was like a 4th and short or a 3rd and short, and Gibbs got the first down because he literally trucked our nose tackle. And he just wasn't holding blocks. He wasn't filling gaps. He wasn't doing much of anything. I really think he was one of the main weaknesses of our whole defense yesterday, or on Sunday night.
The problem with Bobby, he's just so slow, man. That's the issue with him. He's a super.
He's
super
got bad
slow.
footwork, and to be honest, again, it sounds like I'm piling on, but he's not that strong for a nose tackle. Nose tackles are supposed to be space eaters. They're supposed to be guys who are eating double teams, triple teams sometimes. He's not big enough. He's not strong enough. He's not quick enough. There's no physically redeeming qualities. His hand fighting is mediocre. His footwork is really poor. We saw that in some of the, when they did the D-tackle drills and they were showing, you saw Fisk and you were like, oh my gosh, it looks like a baby Aaron Donald, how fast his feet are. Then you saw Kobe Turner's like, dude, Kobe Turner's feet for a guy that size are amazing. And then we saw Bobby Brown and we're like, is this guy 1,200 pounds? Why is he moving so slow? But he's not. He's only he's like 310, 315. He's not that big, which makes it even crazier that he's not that fast. If they tell us, hey, we gave the green dot to literally anyone else and Omar Spates is playing instead of Reader, I'm happy because Roseboom wasn't bad.
Roseboom was solid, yeah.
He wasn't bad.
He made a couple plays.
Bro, do you guys remember that play where it was like a big third down? I'm forgetting what quarter. And it was like 3rd and 6, and Reader had, I think it was Gibbs, down the right. And it was either Gibbs or Montgomery. He had him down the right. And they just trucked him over for like 3 extra yards and got the first down. And I'm like, dude, if that was any other linebacker, bro, they would at least got him 1 yard before the first down, man. It was
and Reader's got the same thing we didn't like about EJ. He gets knocked back for 2 to 3 yards every time he's making a tackle, man. It was over and over again that kept happening in that game. And you're talking about a game of yards, man. It was really frustrating. He was okay in coverage, but he's just not an NFL starting linebacker. He shouldn't be getting primary snaps for any team in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm encouraged by what I saw from Roseboom, though. I think he's not complete garbage.
No.
I'll put it like that. And I think, we all agree on this. Spates, I think Spates will get the job from Reader at some point. But I want to ask you guys, though, what did you think about Fisk and Verse in their first game?
I thought Jared was incredible. I thought Jared, he was getting pushed almost every drive. I thought Jared was incredible. Fisk, I didn't really see him as much. He wasn't super impactful, but he did make a couple plays I liked, and he did get there a couple times. So he had an okay game, but Fisk was phenomenal, man.
Verse,
yeah.
I'm actually Verse. Yeah, you're right, Verse.
I'm probably the biggest Fisk fan of all of us, and I thought he had a pretty mediocre to bad game. I think there was a lot of welcome to the NFL moments. He was oftentimes double teamed, oftentimes. I think that's the stuff he's going to have to overcome and work through, to be honest. I thought Verse was unbelievable, and I'll give myself a pat on the back because I remember last week I talked about Taylor Decker specifically struggling with power moves. I said he's got good feet. He's much better against speed rushers, and Jared Verse beat him like 3 or 4 or 5 times, and they were all power moves, bull rushes, strong swim moves.
Yeah, he was knocking him back for sure.
Yep, he was using that strength to knock Decker off balance, and it's exactly the game plan that he went in with. Because Verse has speed too, and you could tell he got the memo. He watched the pod last week, got the memo. Decker's weak against power rushers, and he used power all game, and he was winning with it. So I was really happy with Verse. It's going to take Fisk a little time, and that's understandable. It's actually a much harder position than it is in college because he's getting double teamed a lot. And but overall, I was happy with the pass rush. I thought we got to Jared pretty frequently. The secondary was good. I mean, we really held the pass. They were rusty and they were probably out. not ready because they hadn't had any preseason or anything like that. But the passing game was pretty bad. The running game was great for the Lions, and that was a problem.
Yeah.
But
And they're a great running team. Obviously that's that doesn't just solve the issue. And I'm still critical of our run defense, but that's what they're built to do. They have an amazing offensive line. Jared didn't get going too much, and they were able to run the ball. But overall, though, I'm obviously so encouraged by that performance. I'm not all the way there on saying Jared Verse was like unbelievable, like you all too, but yeah, he played well. And if you want to say, well, considering the offensive line he was going against,
well, we
and the
do.
fact that it's his first ever start, then I think, yeah, I mean, it was a really
Hold
good
on,
game
we
for
do
him.
have a stat for this. Let's show the stat, and that is this: Jared Verse had a
Mhm.
33% pass rush win rate, which was six for the week.
Nice,
So
very nice.
among edge rushers, he was top six, and that's a good O line. So
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
for a rookie in his first game, it's actually a pretty remarkable game. So we'll
No, I,
take
I
that.
agree. Yeah,
We did have some other
yeah.
stats that we want to run through real quick because I think they're worth noting. Um, which is this one? That AJR
Oh
Curry,
God,
bad, no boom, bad.
Oh,
It
geez.
yeah.
it
I
That
never want to
was
was
see
hard
him
to
go
watch,
ever again.
man. Like,
It was
AJ
hard. It was
Arcuri, I'm
awful.
sorry, bro. Like, and the penalties too, man. Like, it's one thing. Like,
Bro,
all you
his
have to
penalty
do is
stopped the jersey.
what was
the
that?
face mask on
Oh
the
yeah, that was
No,
Whittington touchdown,
yeah, the
man.
face
Like,
man
it's
with the
like
goal
for
line
no
stopped the
reason
jersey.
too.
he had a holding. I think he had a few penalties. Yeah, but
Yeah.
okay. So let's go ahead and jump into the next because we could be here all day. Let's talk
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
our stock ups. Stock up time. We're gonna do one on each side of the ball each. I will start us off. Um, I already lavished a lot of praise on Sean McVay, so I'm gonna move past that. I'm gonna go stock up Bo Limmer. He
Okay, all right.
he was actually low
I
key
like
really
it.
good. He was,
Good one.
and I'm not happy Steve Vila's injured, but I'm happy that we're gonna be able to see Bo Limmer play for another few games to see because he could be a piece for the future. I really think that you guys remember me in the first podcast raving about Bo Limmer's 6th round pick, and I he got shouted out by Baldy and all that, and I'm a believer, man. He had a really good game.
I hear that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's my stock up on offense. I'll let you
yeah,
guys get your offensive ones out.
yeah. You can go ahead, Will.
Okay, sure. So, guys, my stock up is Matthew Stafford. Now, look. I know I've already been high on Matthew Stafford. We talked about it last episode. The reason why I say stock up, though, is it's kind of looking back on the conversation we had last episode, actually, about how long he can last. And I was making the point to you guys that I feel like he kind of has almost developed this new agility or spryness to his game that I didn't see in his first 10 to 11 to 12 seasons. And I don't know if you guys remember, I know there's a lot of plays in the game, but he had two plays specifically where he escaped the rush, got out of the pocket, like made a D lineman miss, extended the play. And I'm just like, man, so first of all, I'm just super impressed by how mobile he is at age 36, just out of nowhere. And then look, he played great. I mean, I know, Ethan, you kind of disagree, and I think what you said is fair. Sure, the game plan from McVay was great, the quick game, but I mean, Stafford has to make that work, obviously, with making the read quickly, getting it out on
Yeah.
time, and he did that consistently with a horrible, horrible, horrible offensive line situation. I think it's fair to say that, again, McVay getting credit too, but that Stafford carried this offense, also with no run game. And look, he throws the horrible interception. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That was a horrible interception. I mean, look, Stafford's kind of like Brett Favre, right? He's gonna make a play like that where you're like, dude, what the hell are you doing? But
Mm-hmm.
then he'll make like two or three plays after that where you're like, all right, I forgive you now. Because I mean, the fourth quarter he was
He's
amazing.
balling.
The Chris Collinsworth called it the fadeaway no look jumper,
Yeah.
where on third down to
Yeah,
Demarcus Robinson. I mean, that's just a special throw and a play. It's not even just the throw. It's like, how did you? It's again exactly what Collinsworth said. Is how did you even think to do that? Like that throw was not there, and he's just making it happen on his own. So again, the reason why I say stock up is just how mobile he looks, how good he looks. He looks healthy, man, and I just think that he's not. Honestly, I don't think he's that close to being done. I think he looks great. Um, we'll see. I mean, as
Yeah,
long as he can stay healthy, obviously. But yeah, that's my stock up. Matthew
yeah,
Stafford, great game, man.
yeah. I like that stock up. So for me, offensively, I was gonna go with Kobe, but just for the fun of it and tradition, I'm gonna go with my guy Cooper Cup. Cooper
Yeah,
Cup had a hell of a game. Cooper Cup is back, man.
yeah,
I gotta say, he's officially back. I had my times with Cooper Cup where I was down on him some, but this game right here showed me that that guy is back. Like, I wish we could see it, wish we could watch it, but that like tap toe thing he did on that catch, I forgot which down it was when the ball was flown to the sideline. He
Yeah.
reached out his arms and somehow got his feet in. It was just
I didn't think he
marvelous,
got
man. It
his
was
feet in.
incredible.
I didn't think he
that was
was. I
crazy.
didn't think it was physically possible, but he defied the laws
No,
of
I
physics.
think I I think it all, man. And he had a great game. I think he had 110 yards on like I don't know how many catches, like 5, 6 catches.
I actually
But
got it. Let me pull it
I
up
think
for
it's
you here.
simply his stock is up. And okay, thank you. Yeah,
Look at the routes. He was
what a
everywhere.
game,
He was
dude.
running all over the
And
field.
yeah, man. That was incredible, dude. And I think this is just the beginning. I think he's gonna next the Cardinals game. I know we're gonna speak about that. I think he's gonna have hell of a game, and I think
Yep.
this is gonna be the season where we're not gonna see Triple Crown Cup, but I think we're gonna see probably 1,400, 1,500 yard Cup, 10 plus touchdowns, man. But yeah,
Yep.
once again, my stock up is Cooper Cup.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about stock up on defense. Who wants to get started?
I'll go first on this one. So my stock up on defense was Kobe Durant. I know we spoke a good amount about him earlier, but I just want to just give him some more praise, man. I think after last year, we all was sort of down on him, and just the way he showed up in this game, and the way he played Amon Ra whenever he was on him, the way he, of course, that almost interception that was just super impressive. And just the way he stayed and compete, even when he went out the game for cramping, he was out for a couple drives, but he came back in, he stayed and competed. And then another thing that I didn't know that Kobe Durant is, he's deceptively fast though. He's pretty quick. So I guess that just goes into how good he was a man. And not to give a diss, but that just shows you how bad Raheem Morris is, man. Just not to unlock the talents of these guys. And because Chris Shula was able to see, okay, that's what he's good at. Let me
Yep,
play him what he's good at. Don't play him in something that he's not good at. So
totally.
him just being that last game, that's my stock of Kobe Durant.
Hey,
Hell of a game.
dare I say that this defense looks a lot more like Brandon Staley's defense from 2020?
Super aggressive, bro. That's all it is. Super aggressive.
Yep, I love it. Will yours defensive stock up?
Sure, and I'll be quick. It's Chris Shula. I know we already spent a lot of time talking about it, but Joe, I mean, I think you even just mentioned part of it too. Is look, he just put guys in the right spot, and even there was even a play by Troy Reader, guys. I don't know if you remember this. There was a pass breakup in the middle of the field by Troy Reader on Amon Ra at some point in that game. And I actually thought about
Oh, I
what
remember
you
that.
had said.
Yeah.
Actually, Ethan, last episode, you were like, look, if you're going to use Troy Reader, just don't put him in the flat. Don't
Mm-hmm.
put him out in space. Just have him cover the middle of the field. He's actually not bad at that. And I immediately thought of you saying that
Yep.
when Reader had that breakup on Amon Ra. I mean, the point being this, I've said it like 3 times now, so sorry if I'm being repetitive, but he put guys in the right spots. He knows. He showed me that he really understands the personnel that he has, knows their strengths and weaknesses, and that's just really encouraging for me. I mean, that's what coaching's all about, right? Like,
Totally.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't want to. Anyway, Raheem's gone, so I'll leave him alone for now. But I love the defensive game plan from Chris Shula, man. And
Absolutely.
look, that's now one thing to watch is, you know, he's a brand new DC. The Lions offensively might not have known what to expect and what to prepare for.
Sure.
So obviously it's one game, but stock up for sure. Great job by
Absolutely.
Shula.
Well, we weren't even sure he would be a good DC, and I think
Right.
so. Stock up has to go up, and then my stock up for defense is going to be John Johnson III. I know I've already talked about it a lot, so I won't go on it too long, but he was phenomenal, and he showed us a lot of like that old Rams John Johnson III, where he really plays his best when he's supporting guys who are playing in man coverage, and he was great. He supported really well. I thought he was good in run support. I thought he was good playing deep zone. I thought he was good everywhere. And we were discussing when would Cameron Kitchens take over the job, and now I'm thinking he's not going to take over the job this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stock up John Johnson. All right, next stock down. I'll start with the offensive side of the ball, and this may be mean, but I don't care. My stock down is going to be AJ Arcuri. And here's why. I know that seems weird because he's a third stringer. You go, well, you can't be stocked down on a third stringer because he's not an NFL player. It's that simple. We know that for a fact now. His expectation was to be able to play some snaps in a limited capacity when necessary and not be complete garbage. And kudos to you for making it to the NFL and all that stuff. I'm going to put this up again. But 1.9 pass block rating. And to be honest, I think they're being generous.
Did you say 1.9?
His pass grading, his pass blocking was rated 1.9 in PFF. And I think they're being generous.
It was lower than that. It was lower than that. Live watch, it was lower.
Aiden Hutchinson.
It was lower than that.
Aiden Hutchinson ate him alive and Aiden had the best pass rush win rate since 2021, and it was because he was on AJ Arcuri most of the game. And whenever Davenport went over there, he feasted on AJ. I mean, they took turns. They were turning him over the fire on the spigot, taking turns cooking him and eating him. It was crazy. And so I know that seems a little bit ridiculous for a third stringer, but he's not an NFL player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Will, you can go ahead. I want to see.
All right. Yeah. So, guys, my stock down is Kyron Williams. Look, I think we talked about it a bit before. Me and Ethan kind of had a back and forth where we both more or less agreed. Like, yes, the offensive line was patchwork, but I think there were more yards to be had. He averaged 2.8 yards per carry. And even if the offensive line situation isn't good, I think it's fair to say that this guy is an all-pro running back, right? I mean, I think it's fair to ask for more. I think there was a couple runs where I don't want to call him slow, but I just felt like there was a couple runs.
No, he's slow. He's slow squared. You want to know why he's slow squared? Because he doesn't have speed and he's indecisive, and so then he's going slow, and then he's not making up his mind what direction he wants to go, and so it ends up slowing him down more because he's processing. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's the majority of the reason why he leaves yards on the table is because he's not fast and he's indecisive about what he wants to do.
Yeah. I actually think Ronnie Rivers looked a little bit better. He had a couple carries that were solid, but I think what you said is right. There seemed to be plays where the hole was there. He's kind of not being decisive. I think he's leaving yards on the field. It's just one game, but for me right now, stock down, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but a few more games of this, you put Corum in, and he has a couple good carries, and it's already
I'll tell you why I agree with you before we go on to Joe about this is all pro, right? So he's got to be judged on an all pro level. We know of all pros like Saquon Barkley, like Adrian Peterson, guys like that who've played behind porous, atrocious O-lines and still put up good games game in and game out because they're all pro-level players. So if you're not putting up those kinds of games, even when the O-line isn't 100% or isn't playing really well, then are you actually an all-pro player? And I think that's a legitimate question, so I agree.
Yeah. So great job, Will. I like that. I like that one. So for me, my stock down is Blake Corum, just because
What?
I'm joking.
Okay, you got me.
I'm joking.
I mean, maybe he should.
I'm going to break the rules a little bit. I'm going to double down with Will.
Yeah,
I'm going to double down with Will. And just say Kyron Will is my stock down as well, man. I know I'm the Kyron guy.
You know what? I'm proud of you, Joe. I'm proud of you for saying that.
I'm going to just say it's Kyron, man. I love Kyron, but that was just an awful game. I mean, the thing that made it so much awful, it was at the end of the game where he was supposed to stay in bounds. And he went out of bounds.
Yes.
And the clock kept running.
We talked about that live.
I forgot about that.
It was a really bad decision.
It was just so dumb, man. And just to even go a little more intricate, he had 18 carries for 50 yards, 2.8 carry. Well, I know we probably said that, but I just want to just put emphasis on that. 18 carries, 50 yards, 2.8 carry.
And three catches.
Absolutely awful.
3 catches, 4 yards.
His
per touch was only 2.5 yards per touch, which is just horrifically.
That is absolutely.
You know what makes it the worst. We won't harp on it too much longer, but you know what makes it the worst thing for us too is that it's the kind of game where you need an all-pro running back to give your quarterback some breathing room. Just a little bit of breathing room. They didn't have to do anything to stop Kyron. They didn't have to stack the box. They didn't have to do none of that. He made McVay's coaching job and Matthew Stafford's quarterbacking play significantly harder by how bad he was. And it's one of those games where you're just like, man, if our all-pro running back can just step up a little bit and give us some breathing room. You know what they say, right? Even your major running back guys are like, it only takes 3 yards of carry to get first downs. Well, he didn't get 3 yards of carry. That's how bad it was. So it was just a situation where you want your all-pro to step up, and he didn't deliver.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
he did deliver. Does it count if you're delivering turds? Does that count?
Were y'all a little bit surprised that Corum didn't get a single touch?
100%.
Yeah, I was.
Yes,
I mean,
bro.
because again, you're giving Rivers a couple carries. I was surprised we didn't see Corum. I don't know if it's because just don't want to put a rookie in a game like that. I don't know. I was surprised about that.
All right.
Yeah, so my talk down is Kyron. I know we want to speed up a little bit.
Yeah, so let's move on to sometimes we're going to be speaking about NFL stuff. We took a long time on game one. Week one of the season, give us some grace. We were very hyped up about the game. So we're just going to skip the NFL talk, move right on to week 2 preview versus the Arizona Cardinals, and we'll knock this out quickly because, to be honest, we just own the Cardinals. The Cardinals belong to Sean McVay. And so let's talk about this a little bit and let's just get right into it. First thing we have to talk about is Rams offense versus the defense of the Cardinals. So the main thing I want to highlight here, and this can be a part of the key matchups as well, but Jake posted this. I think we all agree this is probably going to be the starting O-line next week. Warren McClendon did a lot of cross-training at both tackle positions. So with Rob coming back, Warren's going to take over at left tackle for A.J. Arcuri. This is not obviously set in stone, but I think it's very likely. Jonah Jackson's going to be at left guard. We're going to get another look at Bo Limmer. Kevin Dotson's day-to-day, so we're really thinking he's going to be back. This is actually not a bad O-line, to be honest. Warren didn't do a bad job against the Lions, and they had a lot more talent. Bo did a good job, and we know Jonah, Kevin, and Rob are good O-linemen. So I'm actually not upset. I would like to have a fully healthy O-line, obviously, but I'm not upset about this at all. And what makes it even better is the fact that the D-line, the front seven, the entire defense of the Cardinals is pretty much trash. We got Justin Jones, we have Roy Lopez, but just look at this front seven. There's not a single person on this front seven that you fear at all. Not a single one. So it's a good week to have some injuries to your O-line because you're facing a team that really isn't good up front. So I actually think that we win up front handily, even with the injuries.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we still have a great receiving core, even though Puka's out. We still have, Cooper, Tyler, D-Rob, and Whittington. I'm hoping we get some more looks at Blake Corum. Sean McVay did say that he wanted to get Corum in and didn't work him into the game plan, which he said a bunch of times before. But I'm really excited to see more Colby Parkinson, especially against worse safeties and tight ends because, we were going up against Jack Campbell, Anzalone had a really good game, and Brian Branch, Kirby, they have a good secondary. So Colby up against, we're talking about, let's just take a look. Arizona Cardinals defense, Kazir White, Mac Wilson. These guys are bottom feeders starting inside linebackers. So I'm feeling really good about seeing a lot of people in this game.
Yeah. That's so great. And to piggyback off our receivers, and even though Puka's gone and how good we could be, just could we spread it out. Like last game, it's a crazy stat. I haven't seen it in so long. Last game, 9 players on the Buffalo Bills had over 10 plus yards receiving. That is crazy.
That's
And
insane.
the Bills put up 34 points with losing Stephon Diggs and having a rookie as probably their best receiver, and they put up 34 points against that defense. I think this is a game Stafford for you, Ethan, it could be a bounce back game for Stafford to where he
100%.
blows.
No,
Where he has 350, 3 TDs.
All right,
Like
well, hold on. I wouldn't call it a bounce back game. He had a good game. Come on now.
Yeah, I'm just
well, even if we're just talking about statistically, he had a poor game. 85 passer rating. Stafford's a 100 plus passer rating guy, so 85 passer rating for him is a bad game. We can talk about the circumstances and all that, but a statistical bounce back game and just a game where he looks like he's just comfortable and just dealing. He did good for being uncomfortable.
That's what I want to see. I think that.
Yeah. Look, that Cardinals secondary is suspect, man. That's my takeaway. I was watching the Bills Cardinals game That secondary can be had for sure. And look, I'll just say one thing about the Rams offense too is I would love to see Blake Corum in this game, and I'll give it to you two ways.
Yeah.
One, either because Kyron Williams isn't playing well, or on the other hand, if if we're winning this game comfortably in the it's the third quarter, fourth quarter, let's put in Blake Corum. I want to see how I hope we get a look at him in this second
One
game.
quick piece about that. I don't want to see Ronnie Rivers. Next. All right.
at all.
Next is
Right.
the defense versus offense. Now their offense does have some talent. The O line's pretty suspect, so I'm excited to see what. It's not awful, but it's not good. Paris Johnson. Actually, let me. I'm looking at it, but I'm not talking about it. Paris Johnson is decent as a left tackle. Evan Brown's a bottom tier starting left guard. Will Hernandez is decent. Jonah Williams is hurt, so I don't even know who's going to be playing at right tackle for them. Probably Beecham, the backup left tackle up there, I would imagine. But it's suspect. So I'm excited to see freaking Fisk go up against Evan Brown, Verse, and Young going up against the tackle. Like I'm not even going to mention Bobby Brown, but I'm excited about the rest of the D line. I think they're going to be looking good. And then yeah, it's gonna be a real test for our linebackers. I hope we see more Spates because James Conner and Trey Benson are both great running backs. They actually have a real legit thunder and lightning combo. Benson is absolutely speed, elusive back, and Connor's always been a punishing back.
Yeah, Connor's a good back, man. He's a good
The
back.
one thing I really want to see, because it's his first test, is obviously we went up against Jared, who's a statue. I want to see how our I want to see how Chris Shula's defense is schemed against a very mobile quarterback because we're going to be facing that.
Yep.
So, but it's exciting. I think we have an advantage on both sides of the ball personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the exact same thought. Just really quick with the young edge rushers with Verse and Young. Exactly what you just said. I want to see how they do containing Kyler Murray. I mean, a lot of that is just like, being smart. Having rush integrity, not taking the wrong angle. I want to see how they contain Kyler Murray. And that O line looked a little sus in Week 1 against the Bills. I think they were able to
Agreed.
pressure Kyler Murray a lot. So I think there's a really good opportunity for those young edges to have a big game.
Evan Brown, real quick. He was a Lion, so I'm familiar with his game. He was a backup for the Lions. He's suspect against very strong and very fast guys, and Fisk is both of those things. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. Evan Brown is okay against guys who are kind of like in the middle, not too fast, not too strong, or either. But against really fast guys and really strong guys, he tends to get his butt whooped.
Yeah, for me, really quick, my key, well, not the key, but what I see that we need to do is watch Marvin Harrison Jr. I know last game he didn't have a good game, but I know they publicly they talked about it at the press conference. They had a clip where he was wide open and Kyler didn't see him. So to me, I feel like they might try to go to him early and often next game. So I feel like that whether it's Trey White, it's probably most likely going to be Trey White. So if it's Trey White, just make sure we keep him under check, and I think this should be a smooth win for us.
Okay, so
Yep.
we're going to be talking about key matchups in just a second. I just want to give a quick rundown to some news that affects this game, and I want to make sure we cover it all and the future. So it looks pretty certain that these are what we're looking at. Kevin Dotson's day-to-day. I don't know. I'm starting at second to last. Puka Nakua's out for 4 games. He's going to the IR. Steve Avila, I don't think has been officially put on the IR, but they said it's pretty likely.
He did.
Okay, so that's done deal. Darius Williams on IR. So those guys are all out 4 games. Basically, we'll be looking to return right around the bye or after. And then Dotson stay today, and then Joe Noteboom and Kobe Ryan miss a few weeks. So I just want to make sure that we got that news out there. Now, a couple other pieces of news. We signed Jaron. Is that how you pronounce that, you think? Jaron Christian and Ty Nsekhe. So 2 tackles. We've seen Nsekhe was with the Rams last year. Is that right? For a little bit?
I think I want to say it was 2022.
21. No, 2022. You're right.
Yeah, it was 2022.
Yeah.
We didn't see a lot of him, so we're not going to be able to tell you a lot about how he is as a player. But some veteran depth for a very injury-riddled team. And we signed. I'm actually really excited about this one. We signed a 6th-round pick, Dylan McMahon, who was on the Eagles practice squad. And what makes me really stoked about this is the fact that Um, he's a six rounder, and we know how good Les is at getting late round talent, and he kind of snatched him up as soon as he had the chance. So I'm actually kind of excited. Maybe he's a hidden gem. Now let's talk about the
Yeah.
key matchups. Let's just go through this real quick. I'm going to be super fast. My key matchup is the Rams D line versus the O line of the Cardinals. I'm really excited to see the young group and how they perform against what I would say is a pretty mediocre O line group.
Yeah. Me really quick. We spoke about it already, but my key matchup is just Kyler Murray and the edges. Can Byron Young, Jared Verse, can they contain Kyler Murray? Can Chris Shula put up a game plan to contain him? Because his little feet can move, man. So you gotta be able to contain him.
Great point.
Yeah, I actually had the exact same one, so that's
Yeah,
totally
no,
fine though. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's cool.
yeah, I'm excited to see that pass rush and I'll just say it's not really like a key matchup, but I actually think I think I'm a little bit higher on the Cardinals than you all. Their offense looked good last week. I
yeah,
mean it's not a bad offense.
no,
It's
it's not at all.
it's just not. So I'm really I guess I'm looking at Chris Shula. I just want to see Sean McVay always says the truest measurement of performance is consistency. Let me see another good week out of Chris Shula, and I'll really feel good about it.
I agree. All right, let's move to the keys to victory. I'll go with mine first. My key to victory is going to be a, a solid running game. I just want to see some good running. I want to establish a tempo, and I want to establish some sort of balance in the offensive attack.
Yeah. Um, Literally the same thing. I think we need to give Kyron some confidence going forward. He needs to eat often and early, so we can make sure that he can just swipe off the badness from last game and have a good one because he always does good against the Cardinals anyway. So we need to see
Or
that.
or we could demolish his confidence by letting Blake Corum play and blow the doors off the
Please don't
game.
do that. No,
Go ahead, Will.
I need two all
All
pros.
right,
I need to
all
set them in
right.
the postseason.
Yeah, my key to victory is stopping the run. It's the exact same. I had this key last week, and we proved that, well, we struggled with that, and I think it's a big reason why we lost the game. But yeah, I mean, we said it. James Conner's a good back, man. Trey Benson, he's a good back. I think if we stop the run and we make them one dimensional and it's all on Kyler, I like our chances a
I
lot
agree.
now. But if they're able to run the ball and then play action off of that, and they like to do some
Yeah.
misdirection stuff and then reverses and all
That's when
that, I think
Kyron's
that's
at
where
his
it gets
best.
dicey. Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
stopping the run, key.
Excellent. Yeah, those are good. Let's talk about our week 2 predictions. I'm gonna get us off quick. I'm gonna say Rams. You know what? I'm gonna parlay last week's prediction. You guys remember what it was? It was 35-24 Lions. I'm gonna say
Hmm.
35-24 Rams.
Okay.
I think our offense is gonna
Okay.
go off. They're good. They have a good. They probably will end up being
Yeah.
a top 10 offense. So they're gonna score some
No,
points.
the Cardinals are like kind of like a popular sleeper. I don't know if you guys have been looking at just media predictions, and a lot of people like the Cardinals this year. I don't think they're a bad team. But yeah, I hear you. So you said 35-24.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Rams 28, Cardinals 20.
Okay. Me. There's a caveat in this. If Big Hayes and Kevin Dawson play, hopefully, if they both play, I think it's a blowout. I think it's 31 to
Okay,
17.
I like it.
Like
31-17.
I like
the
it.
Cardinals, I want to respect them, but I just can't respect them. I just can't.
I mean, they haven't really given us a reason to. I mean, we are like 10-1 against them, so I hear you. But
Yeah.
I think it'll be a somewhat. I think it'll be a competitive game though. But no, but I love that. That's bold. You call the
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see. I think they can blow them out. But yeah,
I
looking forward to
I
it.
totally
Hmm.
agree, and we let's take one quick minute. Joe and I had a one point we wanted to make in the NFL talk section, and we went pretty quickly through the preview. And to be honest, like I said, it's the Arizona Sean McVay children, so it's not a lot to talk about. We're gonna win that game. Um, I wanted to just give a shout out to Baker Mayfield. He had an incredible game. He's really earning that contract. Um, I loved it when he
I
was on
like
the
Baker.
Rams. Dude, it's hard not to like Baker, and he's having so much success there. And he lost his offensive coordinator, and he's doing better than ever. In fact, he actually kind of took a shot at him. Did you guys see that?
No.
Not a real shot. He just said, "Hey, one of the things that they're allowing me to do this year that they didn't last year, which is talking about the new coach of the Panthers, was they never let him really audible out of when he on the field saw a bad situation. They didn't give him the freedom to audible out of it, and this year they are." But Baker, bro, what a great game. What a great story. He got tossed aside and is redoing his career. Reminds you of Jared a little bit in that sense. It's just a great story. So shout out to him. And Joe, you had the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say one thing. I want to get up close to the camera a little bit and point to it. Browns fans, this is what you get. Every Cleveland
Wow.
Brown fan out there, I just want you to know this is what you get. Deshaun Watson is terrible. It's time to put in Jameis Winston. That fairy tale you
Yes.
thought you was gonna have, it's over with. You owe him $72 million the next 2 years. So just get ready for hell.
So that
I'm sorry.
he has a new allegation coming out against him, and there's some talk that they might be able to void his contract. But we did season predictions in Discord before, and I said if Jameis becomes a starter for Cleveland, I can see them winning the division. So I'm actually really excited to see if that happens. I think JMO could have himself a little bit of a resurgence like Baker and Jared did. So, do you
Yep.
have any broad NFL stuff you want to say? Will?
No, not really. I just want to say about Deshaun Watson. Like, I just don't even think he's a good quarterback anymore.
He's just
So,
not.
the allegations aside, I mean, the allegations are one thing, but man, they
And
probably should put in Jameis. I mean, Joe Flacco
is that
played better than
I
Watson last.
by a
I don't know.
mile, by a mile. I saw
Yeah,
a stat. Deshaun has, I think, 300-yard passing games in like 16 games for the Browns, and Flacco had 5 out of 6 games with 300 passing. So, dude, Jameis can do it. Jameis can win some games there. I would love to see the redemption story for him. And they might be the most talented team in football, front to back, minus the quarterback position. So
yeah,
they should be a really good team, and it's. I mean, I don't have any loving feelings towards Cleveland Brown fans. I don't hate them, but the team deserves to be good. They have so much talent.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that'll be a wrap for episode 3. We appreciate you guys joining us this week. Please like, subscribe, and comment below with any thoughts you have or any suggestions to improve the podcast. We will see you guys at episode 4.
Later, guys.
Peace out, guys.